big L has taken place in the Trump administration. I'm going to go straight to it. I think we all know what's up. Ladies and gentlemen, boys, girls, and MBs, it brings me great pleasure to tell you that the Department of Homeland Security Secretary, the dog murderer, the first big L has taken place in the Trump administration. I'm going to go straight to it. I think we all know what's up. Ladies and gentlemen, boys, girls, and MBs, it brings me great pleasure to tell you that the Department of Homeland Security Secretary, the dog murderer herself, KRISTI NOEM, has been fired. Smoking on that KRISTI NOEM pack, ladies and gentlemen, the dog killer herself. Blasting on all of our televisions in every airport, in every mode of travel. Botox Barbie. KRISTI NOEM is out of the picture in what I suspect is the first of many firings and resignations and numerous other points of controversy that will inevitably follow as the first major role player in the Burger Reich Gestapo Brigade is taken out for one reason or another. But President Trump has fired his embattled Homeland Security Secretary KRISTI NOEM on Thursday and announced plans to replace her with Senator Mark Wayne Mullen of Oklahoma. This comes after KRISTI NOEM was grilled by Republican lawmakers this week at congressional hearings on a variety of topics, including her knowledge of a lucrative advertising contract. Mr. Trump announced the change on social media along with a new and previously non-existent role for Ms. NOEM. Special envoy for the Shield of America is putting her on janitorial duty, which he said would be a new security initiative for the Western Hemisphere. Some good news to start off the day, ladies and gentlemen. This is some breaking news to start the day off with.
And the name of the department, which is Homeland Security. Do you think so?
No, I agree. As you said, it's a gigantic department, 22 different components. A senior leader only has so much bandwidth to focus on different things. And they're just going to have to change some of the emphasis from immigration to counterterrorism, anti-terrorism. And I think, they have to listen to the careers who are still there. They've pushed many of them out. Others have quit because they disagreed, with the human rights aspects of the immigration policies that are going on. But it's time to get back to first
Mark
principles.
Wayne Mullen is a real piece of shit, by the way, just so you understand. Like,
such an
it's not
important
going to
piece
get
of the
better.
story is KRISTI
It's
NOEM
still going to be unbearable.
DHS, soon to be operational, and Mark Wayne Mullen we're expecting to be coming in. Thank you, Dana. Thank you, Kevin, to both of you for the conversation. We're staying on this breaking news. We'll be right back after a quick break.
Mark Wayne Mullen is also a ginormous dip. He once famously challenged Teamster leader Sean O'Brien physically to a fight.
We can be two consenting adults. We can finish it here.
Okay, that's fine. Perfect.
You want to do it now?
I'd love to do it right now.
Well, stand your butt up then.
You stand your butt up.
Oh, hold on.
Big guy.
Oh, stop it.
Is that your solution every problem?
No, sit down. Sit down. Okay. You're a United States Senator. Sit down.
Active.
Oh, okay.
Sit down, please.
All right.
Can I respond?
Hold it.
That's the guy.
The president writing, quote, "I am pleased to announce that the highly respected United States Senator from the great state of Oklahoma, Mark Wayne Mullen, will become the United States Secretary of Homeland Security effective March 31st.
Literally not highly respected.
2026. I want to bring in Chief White House Correspondent Peter Alexander. Peter, when I spoke with the president just a few weeks ago, he still had a lot of confidence in Homeland Security Secretary KRISTI NOEM, pointing to the border, but something has changed over the last few weeks, and what was it?
Well, it's interesting, Tom, you make that point. So this news, I think you can say, is stunning, but it's not surprising. We know the president has grown increasingly frustrated by KRISTI NOEM's performance as the Department of Homeland Security Secretary, most notably after a series of events that took place over the course of the last several days where she was testifying before Congress. She had been asked a series of questions specifically about the role she played in approving contracts, and notably one, a $220 million ad campaign that was used to encourage immigrants to this country to self-deport. The senator from Louisiana, John Kennedy, said on that issue the president was, in his words, quote, pissed. During the course of the questioning, Noem told Kennedy that the president knew about her decision to approve the ad campaign contracts. You can imagine that did not sit well with the White House, certainly with the president as well. And so that appears to have been the tipping point in
It's
this
so
moment.
funny
There
that
had
only
previously
Trump
been some frustration by the
and, like,
president as it related
Trump's
to Noem for her
closest,
handling
like, preordained
of the
allies get to do
operations, the
deals
immigration
like this.
enforcement op. What
Basically,
happened?
she thought she could get away with some shady financial deals, and Trump was like, bitch, I'm the only one who gets to do that, and maybe my best friend is not you, dog killer. And that's where we're at. This is the first crack in the dam in many respects. In the past, Trump 1 was riddled with controversy. There was a massive revolving door. Day in and day out, there were a lot of competent people, and then there were a lot of incompetent people. But because Donald Trump wanted the competent people to demonstrate loyalty and the incompetent people to also demonstrate loyalty or to do things in a competent manner, there were people that were consistently getting fired and replaced, right? You had the loyal freaks that just could not do the job because they were stupid. And then you had the actual competent people who were managing the situation to the best of their ability. They were evil, make no mistake. They were still Republican. There was a level of evil that they were willing to entertain without like breaking the entire system. Trump 2 is different. Trump 2 did not have the same controversies, or rather, they did have a lot of controversy, but Trump just kind of bouldered through it because ultimately there was maximum loyalty. The closest we arrived at as far as the girlies fighting was Elon Musk versus Donald Trump. That was actually a huge ordeal. As we all know, Elon Musk ended up being like, Donald Trump is literally a pedophile in the Epstein files, and that's the reason why you will never see what's in them. I mean, now we know, right? So obviously there were things like that, but it wasn't that significant. It's like Doge was just simply an appointment. It was supposed to not be for a very long time, right? Whereas this, well, this has a different energy to it. This is different. This is like an actual very significant position in the admin, the head of the Department of Homeland Security, who is no longer going to be the head of the DHS. They hate you but love her even though she killed her dog. Yeah, I know, of course. All those people that are like, you're a dog abuser, know that I don't abuse my dog, but they actually do love a dog abuser. Her name is KRISTI Noem. Well, now they can also say they don't with her either, because now that Trump actually, cut her out, then all the MAGA cult can say, oh, we don't like it either. Is Mark Wayne worse? Yes, I would say Mark Wayne Mullen is worse. Maybe a little bit more competent than KRISTI Noem, but like just as loyal. They're all demonic. They're all gonna do the same awful no matter what. I think Mark Wayne Mullen also has a similar style to KRISTI Noem, an interest in wearing cowboy hats, and also a pizzazz to him, which is pretty funny. It's just Corey Lewandowski won't be able to him. That's the only difference between him and like KRISTI Noem, if we're being super serious. If we're making a real comparison, Mark Wayne Mullen is a more competent person, but he also has the same exact interest in fanfare and I don't know, running around and presenting himself like this hoorah dip. Once you get canned, they needed to cut something. They needed to trim some dead weight. Because, like, the admin is deeply unpopular. Trump recognizes that. He doesn't like that. The DHS was also deeply unpopular. And that's, like, supposed to be that's supposed to be his, like, strongest policy. So he has to blame it on something. Then there's the $220 million ad budget scandal that took place. And it's like, oh, you don't get to sit on top of my currently not popular Department of Homeland Security operations and also do fraud on the side. It's Noem getting fired became inevitable as soon as she told Congress that Trump signed off on that absurd $225 million ad campaign for DHS. She forgot the first lesson any Trump crony learns: never make him look bad, even if you have to lie. Literally, they did the congressional hearing, and then, like, one day after, she's out. This is the correct assessment by James Surowiecki. It's true. She was sitting on top of like a very unpopular, she was the figurehead for a very unpopular policy. She came out and said Renee Good was a terrorist. She came out and said Alex Peretti was a terrorist. Like, obviously there was a lot of backlash for, that kind of insanity. Although there was a lot of backlash for that kind of insanity for understandable reasons, that all would have been fine. It was bubbling up. You were on shaky grounds. Trump doesn't like losers. He likes winners, right? He'll trim the fat if it comes down to it, to create like a pressure valve, because if his base starts not with KRISTI Noem, then someone's got to go. If the base is starting to get mad about the DHS operations, like someone needs to be the fall guy. But the straw that broke the camel's back probably is the ad campaign, I suspect. But it's just like the replacement is not necessarily like moving the DHS in a different trajectory. It's still going to be just as ruthless, if not more ruthless and cruel. ICE is still very much Trump's Gestapo force. Like none of those things are changing. And Markwayne Mullin is also a real monster regardless. It's just that her time ran out and she over Trump, I guess. Like she made Trump look bad. But yeah, this is the guy that's now going to be leading the DHS. Manlet Mullin. And yes, he tried to fight Sean O'Brien. Obviously, he's a real psycho. He does like UFC and stuff. Yeah, he does like mixed martial arts. A real tough guy, standing tall at 5'4". Let's take a look at Mullin Plumbing, his pappy's work, by the way, that he took over as a small business owner. Markwayne Mullin is a small business Hitlerite. Many such cases. Oklahoman. You know, I guess as is the case with a lot of quirked up white boys. He claims Cherokee, I think.
Hi, I'm Markwayne Mullin with Mullin Plumbing at the Red Ritter. Do you have a stool that just doesn't flush right? A lot of times that's due to the water level in the tank that needs to be adjusted. It needs to be about a ½ inch below the Douglas valve or to where it's clearly marked says water line. All you need to do is pull the clip, pull it up to increase water.
He might be actually fully Cherokee. I actually don't know, but like he's a straight up hog. So I don't know if we're gonna claim that. You know what I mean? I don't know if people want to claim that. I feel like the Native Americans in the audience might not want to. I mean, it's Oklahoma. Everyone is part Native.
Or pull it down to lower the water level. How do you clean your garbage disposal? Well, let me show you. Take you a wooden spoon and a pitcher of ice. Pour the ice into the garbage disposal and then use the spoon to help push the ice into the garbage disposal. Turn the water on slightly and this will clean your garbage disposal very, very nicely. Hey, if you need help with this or any other plumbing issue, call Mullin Plumbing at the Red Ritter at 918-258-6636. That's 918-258-6636.
That'd be really funny if that's still his phone number. Sources told Fox it was a combination of multiple factors that led to KRISTI Noem being ousted.
Looking for the testimony that apparently really upset the president.
Called it, dude. See, even before they came out, it's because there was too much heat on the DHS, on the operations, and like Republicans started saying, "This is what are we doing here? You're calling white people terrorists." Like, if you're a Republican and you're like, "Oh, I want to see like mass immigration detention facilities, like mass deportations happening," you actually don't know what that's going to look like. You don't understand how ugly that's going to look like. That's one problem here, and I kept repeatedly explaining this over and over again. But like seeing it unfold in your backyard is very different than like fantasizing about a better future for America, a white future for America. Because like when you lose your landscaper, when you lose your neighbor, when you lose the people that you actually kind of like, you're like, what the I don't really like this at all. To add insult to injury in the process of that, when you go out and take to the streets, and then a bunch of mass thugs of the state come knocking on people's doors and doing these kidnapping operations, and they end up shooting white people in the process. Obviously, that's not going to be a super popular thing, no matter how popular Trump is with his base, no matter how much he can basically hypnotize his base of support. So someone had to be punished for it.
For the testimony that apparently really upset the president, where Noem said, yes, we went through the legal process and did it correctly when asked if the president authorized and approved that $200 million in spending. He did not. He said that he was not aware of this campaign, certainly did not authorize it. And then there were also these rumors of an affair with Corey Lewandowski, special government employee who was serving as...
Yeah, that don't matter much. I mean, we all know they're bumping uglies. I mean, Trump can get lured on Trump Force One, and that's not an issue, but Corey Lewandowski can't break off a piece. You know what I mean? If she was a performer across the board, also rumors, if she was a performer and she wasn't so into like fanfare and all this like, you know, optic, like holding up a gun, directly pointing the barrel at the head of another like ICE agent, constantly playing dress up, or if people were happy about the DHS operations, or people were fine with her being like, yeah, everyone that the Department of Homeland Security ends up assassinating happens to be a terrorist, you know? If people were chill with that, I guess, then she'd still be the head of the DHS. It's just a combination of all those factors combined is the reason why someone had to go.
An advisor. He is also married, and reports floating in the last several weeks that Noem had sought to appoint Lewandowski as her chief of staff, but the president blocked that decision amid these rumors of an affair. So the combination of those factors that tipped the president's decision to elevate Markwayne Mullin into this position and get him confirmed.
Yeah, that's very interesting.
What's interesting is like how this works with the Senate seat. Like the fact that Trump did this so haphazardly, so hastily, and took out like already a slim majority that exists in the Senate and make it even more contentious. I guess they have John Fetterman, so like it doesn't really matter, unfortunately. But I mean, he's up for election this year regardless. Okay, but like slim majorities matter quite a bit, especially in moments like this. But I guess you can do whatever you want because the Democrats are controlled opposition, so it doesn't matter.
Jackie, because, you know, the person that you're citing, the source that you're citing, and just tick off for us again the 3 things that they told you went into this decision, because that's not really a soft pedal the way that it was described to you. Can you go through those again one more time?
Minnesota, her handling of the fallout to the deaths in Minnesota of Renee Good and Alex Preddy, the statements that she made in public calling them domestic terrorists before some of the facts had come in, and her handling of that scenario, the ad campaign, the $200 million that featured her on horseback at Mount Rushmore and claiming that the president signed off on it when he had not, and also the allegations of an affair with Corey Lewandowski. This person close to the president described the...
They're getting nasty with it. The fact that the White House is leaking this as like primary reasons is that like she got the chop job, like they've cut her. They're being very nasty about it too. Like they're not even keeping up appearances like, oh no, she's better suited for the new position that she got demoted to. They're just straight up like, KRISTI Noem, she was being a harlot.